Xymox Reserve Practice Pad. I am a proud Blue Coats alumni, marched 4 years snare in Blue Coats, to a section leader in the early 90s. Amazing experience, go blue. And after I aged out, I took my sticks and I put them in my parents' basement for like 20 years. Didn't touch them at all. So when I get to the part where I play here, like I said in my off-road video, don't yell at me because my chops suck. But Blue Coats Alumni Corps is coming up. I thought I ought to get back into playing. And I started looking around at pads, and I looked at the Xymox pad, and I looked at the off-road pad. I'll put a link to my video up. I'm going to vote that it's over here. Might be over here. Up there, and you can check out my video on this. Eventually, I will get to a comparison video between the two of these. But I started looking at these two pads, and I really wanted the snare sound on the Xymox pad, but the off-road pad I could have Amazon Prime shipping to my house 2 days for about $60, and the Xymox pad was going to be over $100, and shipping was, who knows, months to who knows how long. And I heard some iffy things about their customer service. So I went with the off-road pad, and great pad. You can check out my video of it, like I said. And after I had that for a couple months, I got that itch for the snare sound on the Xymox pad. And I said, well, I'm not going to be without a pad, so I will go ahead and put an order for it. So time frame, I ordered this pad on June 3rd, 2018. It arrived August 1st, 2018. And this green rim here is not the rim that I ordered. They tell me that my correct rim should be in at the end of October, hopefully. This is now October 10th. So ordered June 3rd, delivered August 1st, and they're hoping the rest of the correct parts will be here at the end of October, now early October. We'll see what they say. Customer service-wise, I've emailed them a couple times over this process, and they probably got back to me in 2-3 days, and always a friendly email. I don't really have a problem with their customer service. No big deal there. It just does, you're gonna have to wait a while for the Xymox pad if you want it. This pad comes in two sizes, the 12-inch and a 14-inch. This is the 12-inch, and size-wise, if you want to get down to measuring it, rim to rim on the inside, it's 9 3/4 inches. Edge to edge, 11.5 inches. So it's, I guess, 12-ish inches. The 14-inch pad is, I don't know, maybe going to be, I don't have it, 13.5 inches, who knows. Price-wise on this, the 12-inch pad is $84, and the 14-inch pad is $98. And these pads are completely customizable. You can customize the color of the base, color of the rim, the color of the lugs, the color of the head and the top, and everything is all customizable. So I went ahead and got the 12-inch pad, $84. And because I didn't have one for a long time, I threw in a 6-inch pearl drum key because the lugs on this pad are all functional. And so when you get the pad, you can take it and you can tighten them down. I've pretty much cranked them all the way down because, of course, you want it to be the most bouncy. And the idea of this pad is that this is geared towards marching snare. So if you're a set drummer, you probably don't need this pad. You could probably get a cheaper pad that is not so geared towards marching snare. It doesn't have that high-pitched sound and maybe doesn't cost $100. But for marching snare, the idea is that they wanted to replicate as close as they could the feel and the bounce of a marching snare head. And then, of course, the other big deal with this pad is that you get that snare sound. Now, what I learned with this pad over time is that to get the most true, high-pitched, true-to-life snare sound, you need to put this pad on a stand. You need to suspend it. Because if you have this pad on a countertop or a desk, you're going to get an entirely different sound on it. I initially had it, I put it on my countertop, and I thought, why am I getting this kind of low-pitched, gutty sound underneath the snare sound? And I realized I was getting some of the transfer of the sound from the counter. So if you want the most true high-pitched sound, put it on a stand, and that will get you that snare sound. Let's look at the construction of this pad. On the bottom of the pad, there is some foam rubber, maybe a 1/4 inch or so, and that pad is a little bit squishy, and I think when you have it on a hard surface, that creates a little bit of give to the pad, maybe just ever so slightly decreasing the bounce. I think it's almost minuscule, almost none, but maybe just slightly. Also, I think that helps transfer some of the sound into the countertop or wherever you had it. I would prefer maybe if they had thinner rubber, or maybe the rubber that's on the bottom of the off-road pad, just to give it that much more of a hard feel to it. Also on the bottom, the snares. The snares are under this pad here. The snares, those ball bearings. And if you don't like the snare sound, or for some reason you don't want it, they give you this little piece of rubber here, and you can put that under there, and that will silence the snare sound. I bought this pad for the snare sound, so I am certainly not going to be deadening it. The base here is 1 inch thick, and then on top of that, the rim, which you can get in all sorts of fashion colors, and then the lugs, just like I said, are functional. On the top, the head, again, you can get in a bunch of colors. I got it in the blue-black Kevlar, and then they have their logo right there. Now, how about the sound on this pad? So the sound on this is a little hard to catch in video. I put my microphone down here on my stomach to try and catch the best sound. But the sound in the middle, again, it's that snare sound, which is the whole reason you want the pad. The snare sound is also adjustable, so you can tighten or loosen that plate on the bottom to get a little tighter or a little bit looser snare sound. It is possible to get it too tight or too loose, so you want to get kind of a happy medium. Even at a low tap height, you still get the snare sound. Out on the edge, no snare sound because the snares are right here in the middle. The rim, by the way, the rim has two little notches in it, and you can use that to put your sticks in. That way they don't roll off. It's pretty handy. And the rim for shots, I have not, I beat this rim reasonable amount, and the rim has not torn up at all. Those old Remo pads from way back when, those had the softest rims I'd ever seen, and they would just deteriorate to the point where there was no rim. But this pad, the other thing I think this pad does is because it has that high tight sound, I think this pad can kind of accentuate your inadequacies a little bit. So paradiddle-diddles, for instance, at a low speed, mine are not that bad, but again, because my chops are not what they once used to be, if I start playing them fast, they're not as even as I'd like to be, and I'm not sure if it's coming across well in the sound on the video, but I feel like they're not as smooth as I'd like them to be. So I think this pad helps with that, especially if you don't have music on in the background. You can really hear what you're playing. So overall, I love the pad. If you don't live in an Amazon Prime drum practice pad world where you need to have your pad right now, then throw some money the way of Xymox and sit back and wait a couple months, 2 months. I've heard people waiting longer, 3, 4 months and more. And eventually, somewhere down the road, you will have an awesome practice pad that sounds like a marching snare. Put it on a stand for the best sound, and then you'll be all set.